Hi, my name is George, and my topic is how multiplayer in Slay the Spire 2 reshapes player experience and decision making. Slay the Spire is a roguelike deck building game where players climb a tower, build a deck of cards, manage limited resources. Put in simple, players play cards to either deal damage or block incoming attacks, using limited amount of energy to deal with each comeback as efficient as possible. Like every roguelike game, each run is shaped by risk management, probability, and long-term planning. In Slay the Spire 2, this familiar structure returns, but with one major addition: the multiplayer. Up to 4 players can now climb the spire together, sharing the same map, fighting the same enemies, and coordinating decisions in real time. While each player still manages their own deck and resources, the game becomes a shared experience and the strategy is not purely individual. This shift raises an important question. How does multiplayer actually change the way players think, decide, and experience the game? One of the most immediate changes in multiplayer is how player agency is distributed. In single player, decision making is fully controlled by that player. Every choice from card selection to road planning directly determines the outcome of each run. This indicates a strong sense of individual agency where success and failure are clearly due to personal decisions. However, in multiplayer, this agency becomes shared. From gameplay, observation, and interviews, decision making often turns into negotiation rather than individual choice. Players discuss card choices, coordinate attack sequence, and sometimes delay actions in order to align with team strategy. Comeback efficiency depends on cooperations, such as applying debuffs before teammates commit damage. As a result, the agency is no longer owned by a single player but distributed across the group. At the same time, player strategy also shifts. In single player, players tend to optimize for their own survival and long-term deck strength. But in multiplayer, strategies become more adaptive. Players often choose card or path not only based on their own deck but also what benefits the team most. Interestingly, this redistribution of responsibility also reduces the pressure of the game. Because the outcomes are shared, the sense of failure is no longer fully attributed to one player. Several interview participants describe the multiplayer as more relaxed than single player or other competitive games. League of Legends, they mentioned. One player noted they were more willing to pick unusual cards simply because teammates could make things up if their choice was not the best. Multiplayer also introduced a new layer of social enjoyment. Players often communicate not only about strategy, but also about unrelated topics, turning the gameplay into a shared social space. Sometimes even failed runs are remembered as humorous or enjoyable experience rather than frustration. Overall, multiplayer transformed the game into a system of individual optimization into a shared decision-making environment, which means agency, risk, and even win or lose distributed across players. This can be summarized through 4 key shifts. First, player agency decreases individually and it is redistributed. Decisions matter less as isolated actions but more as coordinated outcomes. Second, strategy becomes more flexible and team-based dependent. Instead of focusing on optimal individual deck building, players adapt to team composition, shared goals, and collective survival. Third, social interaction becomes a core part of gameplay. Multiplayer sections often involve consistent communication, coordination, and shared owner. The game becomes a space of interaction rather than just building your deck. Finally, player pressure is reduced. Because responsibility is shared, players feel less punished by failure. This lowers the emotional cost of risk-taking and frustration while being defeated. Together, these changes show that multiplayer does not simply make the game easier or harder. It fundamentally changes the meaning of the game. It shifts Slay the Spire from the solitary optimization challenge into a collaborative experience. In conclusion, multiplayer in Slay the Spire 2 does more than introduce cooperation. It transforms the game into a shared social system. And more importantly, multiplayer shows adapting to the modern game market. We should not only care about how the game is played, but also consider how it's shared.